I'm Cameron.
I'm Clint.
Today we have a special weekend extravaganza for you. It is the Flaviar tasting kit of the month. Flaviar tasting kit. I don't know if it's Flaviar as in flavor or Flaviar rhymes with caviar, like trying to be fancy.
I thought it was Flaviar.
Flaviar.
But you're right, the I and the A at the end are flip-floppy from what I thought.
So they contacted us, like, say, hey, can we give you a sample, talk about us, and we'll send you some free stuff to check out. And so I said, sure. It's a subscription service. We've done stuff like that before at Munchpack. It's a subscription service, and it's like $25 a month, and they send you samples of hard-to-find spirits. This month it's whiskey, so we have 5 whiskeys to sample here. And I actually kind of like this idea because I hate going buying a whole bottle of whiskey and then it sucks. Yeah, it happens. So I like this idea. I don't know how good of a value it is, but I know that there's whiskeys in here that I've never heard of and are really hard to find. So just on that alone is pretty cool. That's kind of what they do, is they get hard to find stuff and send it out.
I know nothing about whiskey, but this guy does. So I'm just gonna listen to him and sip on some stuff. I guess I know a little bit, but not like this guy.
I think you've actually tried this one before, so we'll start with this one. This is the Glenmorangie Quinta Reuben.
I know I've had Glenmorangie.
Yeah, so the Glenmorangie line, I've had some of it before. They take their 10-year-old Scotch whiskey, single malt. They throw it into, I don't even know what they did with this one. They throw it into some kind of wine barrel or other whiskey barrel for a couple more years. Throw another stuff in this one. These are 1.5 ounce samples, basically a shot.
Okay.
And I think what we're gonna do is just try them straight up, add a little bit of water, and give it some brief 2-minute review style thoughts.
All right. I think these little containers are cool, these little vials.
I think they're pretty awesome, yeah.
I feel like you're pouring your formula to become Mr. Hyde. From Dr. Jekyll to Mr. Hyde, here we go.
So it's light, not really light brown, it's somewhat medium brown. It's almost got like a pinkish purple brown in there, like real subtle.
It smells familiar.
It smells good. It smells like a nice sweet single malt scotch. And let's give it a try before we add water.
It made me realize how chapped my lips are.
I'm a big fan of the Glenmorangie 10-year. This, it adds a little bit to it. I think there's a little bit smokiness in here. And then you get a little smoky now that it's gone. Not too much.
Okay.
Not like
I'll buy that.
Not one of those smoky peated scotches, which there's a peated one in here, but
I don't know what that even means.
We'll see when we get there.
We will find out.
There's kind of almost like a tart aroma in here. This one's not going to need too much water. It's pretty mellow without it, but I am going to add a couple drops. Some people they hate adding water. Some people love it. Some people say it opens up the aroma and the flavors. Some people say it waters it down. It's just kind of, you should just drink it however you like it.
I feel like like I said earlier, this guy knows his whiskey. He's giving me whiskeys to try. And I found, as a non-whiskey connoisseur, that I like a little bit of water in there. Because yes, it makes it more drinkable and it makes me able to identify the flavors that are inside the whiskey.
I agree with that too, because especially if you don't drink a lot, if you have some straight whiskey, it can kind of numb your tongue a little bit and you're not as knowing what's going on with the flavors.
A lot more flavor with that one. Tastes like whiskey. This
is good. It's got a real sweet, kind of a fruity flavor to it.
For whiskey.
Yeah, I'm not saying that this is like a peach brandy here. This is, it's all based on, it's all derived from these original whiskey flavors. So what's cool about this is, let's say you try this, and you're like, wow, this is really, really, really good. I want to get a bottle. You can go onto the website that you're subscribed through and get a discounted bottle of it because you're a member of the thing.
It's only missing 1.5 ounces out of the bottle.
So I like this quite a bit. This is very drinkable. I'm a big fan of Glenmorangie in general though, so this is right up my alley. This is stuff I drink anyways. So
this is in Cameron's alley.
Now let's move on to the Indian single malt whiskey. I've never even heard of this before. It's called...
We've got our little vial box is what we're looking at here. If you're wondering what we're looking down at, it's our vial holder. That's what you'd call it, a vial, right?
Perfect. This is also 46% alcohol, Indian single malt whiskey. A lot of countries have borrowed the Scottish way of just using malted barley as the only ingredient in their whiskey. Give it a great sweet flavor. And this is apparently how the Indians make it. Real light golden color here. Okay, this smells like, I've had a few American style single malts. They make it the same way that Scotland makes it with the single malt and stuff. This smells like an American single malt to me. I've had a few. They don't typically age them as long, and you don't have to in America because it's warmer.
This one's stinkier.
It smells a little dirtier. But that's how the American single malts also smell like in my experience. In my experience, a lot of these countries don't age them as long. They don't have to. When it's warmer, the whiskey ages faster in the barrels. Scotland, they gotta age them forever because it's cold there. Doesn't smell too bad. It smells a little young. It smells like maybe they age it, you know, not quite as long as other whiskeys. But it is a whiskey.
You know what it kind of reminds me of?
Dirty straw. Like dirty straw in a barn.
Dirty straw in a barn. Okay, that's not what I was thinking at all. I was thinking of, you know how there's those markers that smell like fruits and stuff?
Yes.
This is the, like, pen part of the smell of those that they all share in common. Like there's that little like, what is that they all share in common? That's what that is.
That they did a pretty good job of covering up, but they can't quite get that last part out.
Covering up that marker smell, but they couldn't get it all.
Almost all whiskey has a certain acetone quality in it, you know, like fingernail polish remover. Just because of the alcohol that's in it, it shares similar chemical compounds, so there's always going to be some of that in there. It's probably what you're smelling. Well, let's try the Indian single malt.
Hey.
It's really mellow for me. Like, not for you?
No, actually, it's not as mellow as the last one.
Oh, you think?
No way. The last one left me with a little more dragon breath.
Okay.
But this one is like a lingering.
This is like
sting.
I'm getting like some sugar cookie in here. It's something weird like.
I can see that this is more flavorful, and that may be what I'm thinking of. That's more intense. I'm gonna put some water in mine.
I'm gonna put just a drop because this is not too crazy for me. Like if you had a whole bunch of cookies that had all these crazy flavors, for me this would be like the sugar cookie one, maybe with frosting on it. Not like
if these 5 vials were cookie vials, this is a sugar cookie?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Oh, there's water. That water changed. I had to put another drop in here because it totally changed the aroma. Something's coming out here. Something
I
way
smell
different.
less.
Less?
Less.
I smell way more. Something like pears or.
I do not smell pears.
There's something like sweet and sour in here.
Sweet and sour chicken. That's what it smells like. Whiskey.
If I got a bottle of this,
what?
After trying a little bit of it, I would be like, oh, I'm fine with this bottle. I don't regret the purchase. I mean, unless it was like an $80 bottle, this wouldn't be worth it.
What price would you pay for a bottle of this, Cameron?
This is a fine single malt. I would guess this bottle would be around $60, and I'd be fine paying for that.
You know how much it costs us? Free.
Thanks, Flaviar.
Thanks, Flaviar.
Actually, I might legitimately sign up for this. This is like
yeah,
this is
up your alley, yeah.
I'm getting almost like a gingerbread aroma and flavor.
Okay, I would say somewhat.
Gingerbread.
It's not like that kind of spicy ginger though. But I get what you're saying. Gingerbread is closer than sugar cookie, but you're not quite there.
Yeah, we're working toward it. This is the pumpkin spice.
I was
of
thinking
whiskey.
pumpkin bread. Like, Happy Thanksgiving!
I'm actually kind of impressed. A lot of countries try to make their own single malt whiskey, and they do mediocre jobs. I wouldn't say this is as good as your typical Scotch whiskey, but this is fine. I would say you guys have made a passable Scotch whiskey of the Indian style. We're using our Glencairn drinking glasses.
Okay, I get to choose one now.
Okay, what do we got?
We have Nika Yoichi! Japanese whiskey.
So a while back, this guy from Japan went and just studied the craft of distilling single malt whiskey in Scotland. Just studied and got really good at it, and then brought the tradition back to Japan. Now they don't have nearly the output that Scotland does, but they have a pretty good culture of single malt whiskey there. I've tried some of them before, and they're fine. I think they don't have quite the character that Scottish single malts have, but they're fine. They do a reasonably good job. The only way I can explain it is they seem a bit thinner. Medium amber color, a little light amber color.
So here's the deal with...
Whoa!
That's
a smoky one.
Oh, you can't tell the smokiness.
Yeah. So here's how this works.
This reminds me, you know what this reminds me of? Chris Kelly's house. Remember Chris Kelly?
Yeah.
When I was like in elementary school, I'd go
Mhm.
down to his house and we'd play NES, and this kind of smells like his house.
Here's how this works. In Scotland, in the mainland, there's different regions of whiskies. They try and stick with certain traditions of how they distill and make a final product. There is an island off the coast of Scotland that's a part of Scotland. Those are called Islay whiskies. All of them smoke the whiskey. So what they do is they take peat moss, dry it out, light it on fire, and then they take the malted barley and then smoke it. So it gives.
I love peat moss.
So they give the whiskey a real smoky flavor, even after they distill it and age it for 12 years. It's still got a real smoky flavor to it. And I'm guessing that when they took this tradition back to Japan, they did something similar. That's pretty smoky though.
It smells smoky.
Yeah.
I'm ready to give it a little shipperoo.
Alright, let's do it.
It tastes smoky. I could tell as soon as it hits my lip.
Extremely
Hit my
smoky.
lips.
That's peated. When someone says, I have a nice peated whiskey, I know what you're talking about. This is what that
I
means.
feel like I'm eating like wood chips or burnt mesquite bacon.
Personally, I can appreciate this whiskey, but it's not my thing.
Not my thing. Little too close to dog treat flavor, like that smoke.
There's a
You
weird,
know?
like, meat flavored
Yeah.
smoke in here.
The smoke, I think part of it is that like that's what we're used to having smoked flavors in as meat.
Mm.
So we're associating that smoke flavor with meat that has similar smoke flavor, I think is what it is.
That's smart.
But definitely like sausages,
Mm-hmm.
the dog treat, like something like that. I do not think I need to add water for this one.
What's the alcohol proof?
So it's 45%.
90 proof?
So what the others were 48?
46. About the
46,
same.
so about the same, but this one's way smoother.
So what that usually means is that it's aged longer, because the longer a whiskey is aged, the more it mellows it out and makes it smoother.
Okay.
That's usually what it means, not necessarily, but that's usually what's going on there. There's something faintly sweet behind the smoky meat flavor, and it's something you kind of got to look for
Chris Kelly's house.
on the back end. I'm going to add 1 drop of water just because. And there's people called peat heads that just love, like anything smoky, just give it to me by the bottle.
Give me 1 pound mesquite bacon.
Pro tip, if you're a big fan of peated whiskeys, you love that smoke, don't drink them in a glass like this, drink them in like a pint glass. Because you're going to get way more smoke in your aroma, and it's going to way contribute to the flavor. Pretty good smoked peated whiskey, not my thing. I would not rush out and buy a bottle of this. If I got 3 options on whiskey, I'm just not going to grab this. It's just really not my thing.
Flaviar sent us this pack. It's got 5 of these samples in it, and they're all whiskeys.
Yep.
Are they always whiskeys?
No.
So they're just alcohols.
It's a spirits discovery subscription or something. Like
okay.
that.
So they have like, is it every month?
Yeah.
So it's like they have whiskey month, and then they have like vodka month, and then they have brandy month, and then
Gin month.
Gin month.
I think that's how it works. I mean, they might do like a barrel aged month where they have like a barrel aged gin and a barrel aged vodka. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
I'm not really sure. I'm just kind of doing some research on them now, but we're in luck because it's whiskey and that's my thing.
They were watching reviews, and they're like, these guys,
Mhm.
this one guy, he likes his whiskey.
So these online subscription packages are kind of the trendy right now, and I think some of them are better than others. My buddy was just telling me, he's like, my girlfriend just signed up for this thing.
Makeup.
And she gets this box of food and she just eats it from all over the world. I was like, Munch Pack? He's like, yeah, I think that's what it's called. Like, yeah, we check them out now.
There's like makeup ones too.
Oh,
I
yeah.
Like that. Like here's
There's
like makeup.
like
samples.
clothes ones, like trying all these clothes. Send us your measurements. Try all these clothes. Send the ones back you don't need. Wear them for a
Really?
month. Send them back. That way you got a new outfit every month.
Really?
Yeah. Let's try the Irish whiskey called Writer's Tears.
That's what is appealing to me to drink.
Writers love to drink alcohol.
And then they cry and they bottle it, and they drink so much alcohol that it's 45% alcohol.
Let me give you a quick rant on Irish whiskey. Irish whiskey in general is bad. Terrible, bad, no character.
Why do you got to talk about my people like that?
The problem with Irish whiskey is that it's blended with grain alcohol, which a lot of the whiskeys we drink are made with barley. The majority of Irish whiskey it's just like a lazy, like I can tell right away it's just 40 proof. The legal minimum it is to be called whiskey. That's what they do. I don't know why they put out so much bad whiskey. So I don't have high hopes for this. I will say There are a few very good Irish whiskies. I think we've tried some Tyrconnell. Have you had that before? There are some very good Irish whiskies, but they're way harder to find. If you want to go to any bar, you can get some Jameson, and Jameson's bad. So I'm going into this with low expectations because it's Irish whiskey.
Now that Cameron's done talking bad about my people,
I'm Irish too.
I'd like to say that we as a people like to drink, and it doesn't matter how we get the alcohol.
Apparently.
As long as we just get the alcohol.
Light amber color again, not too dark. Pretty standard whiskey color. I mean, it smells pretty sweet. This is just an Irish whiskey. I'm guessing it's going to be very smooth, very drinkable, and really just kind of like, that's whiskey. I identify that as whiskey.
That sounds like what I want in whiskey, to just be able to just be Irish.
Alright, well let's try it and see how it is.
Smooth.
Tastes like Irish whiskey.
Mellow flavor. Smooth, mellow flavor.
Better than Jameson.
Better than Jameson.
I'm going to say that I don't like Jameson. I'm going to get like a bunch of thumbs down on that because just everyone loves Jameson. It's just
Well,
bad.
everyone loves Budweiser too, so let's not take people's opinions into consideration. Let's keep our own opinions.
It is a pretty sweet whiskey, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
more on the sweeter side. Like, I feel like sometimes when you have a real nice fancy whiskey, you have to put some effort into like enjoying it. This one you can just pick it up and drink it while you're watching the football game and not really, you know what I mean? Like, it's not going to really challenge you, but it's going to be good. Just going to be real, solid, sweet, easy drinker. Adding a little bit of water, it doesn't really need it in my opinion, but I'm going to see.
You know what? I'll do that.
By the way, this is supposed to be shared between 3 people, but we have no special guest today,
Whoa. Are you serious?
so it's recommended.
Really? That's what Flaviar?
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you about the Irish whiskey from someone who doesn't drink whiskey. Not too much flavor, pretty smooth, drinkable.
Just
In the 30s. Out of 37 for a whiskey, it'd be in the 30s.
You have summed up
Ireland style.
You summed up my experience with Irish whiskey. Now this is the big dog. This is the one that's gonna really, really have the most flavor for sure.
all you lovers, since you are taking the time to read this, we would like to thank you for being present with us here and now. Cherish this moment. Grab the moment by the balls and cherish it.
What is this?
That's what it says. Yeah.
This is Swiss peated whiskey called Santis. Do you remember what peated whiskey means?
Smoked.
Yeah. So
It looks dark.
It's way stronger than anything we've tried so far, and it's smoked. This is going to have, in a very educated guess, the most flavor of anything we've tried. This is going to be the one that is very polarizing. This is very dark. Definitely the darkest one. It's like a dark cedar, dark amber.
Coca-Cola.
Oh! Man, I have to say though, that's almost like a really good smelling fire. Like if that was the fire I was at.
This is camping whiskey right here.
Camping whiskey.
You're using some. You're.
Wow. I have never smelled anything close to this before.
You're using some prime cedar.
Yeah.
And maybe some oak inside your fire.
This smells really good to me for some reason.
It's so dark, dude.
It's
It's
so
crazy.
dark.
It's like Dr. Pepper or something.
Usually the darker the whiskey, unless they add E14956 caramel coloring, this means that it's been aged a long time and it's going to be really smooth.
This is the cream of the crop right here.
Well, let's try it and see how this Swiss peated whiskey is.
Alright. Whoa. It tastes like campfire. Doesn't it taste like alcohol at campfire?
Just crunching on a burnt piece of wood.
Yeah, like take a log out of your campfire. You go camping, you got this big fire going, and then everyone's like, oh, we want to go to bed. And you're like, oh, but this fire's here. Okay, I'll dump water on it. And then you get up in the morning and you take the log and like scrape it off into your whiskey.
There's like a fresh wood smell in here.
That is so smoky, man. I'm going to add water. Really, it's pretty smooth considering 50 what?
52.
52%? Like, it's
104
very
proof?
smooth.
Yeah.
It's very smooth. You could get this over 100 proof drink and put it in a glass and sip on it and be good and not be going like,
Mesquite. That's the thing. This is a mesquite.
Mesquite.
They should call it Elite Mesquite Swiss
Elite?
Whiskey. They could call it Swisky. This smells like you're living in one of those cities where the entire surrounding 4,000 acres is on fire and you're walking through Home Depot lumber section.
I think it tastes like you go camping and you're hanging out by the fire 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 and then you eat your shirt.
Somehow a fresher smoke version than I'm used to. Like some of these peated whiskeys have like an old smoke version. I think that's from aging it and getting old. It's got like a musty.
This smells like, or this is like you just lit that fire just now.
You somehow got this like green piece of wood that just light on fire and it's charred. So we did a good job trying all these whiskeys. I mean, it's crazy that those are all whiskey and how different they all tasted.
Yeah, they were very different. Coolio, thanks for letting us try it, Flaviar.
Yeah.
If we're saying it wrong, please let us know. Flaviar.
Flaviar. I think it's Flaviar.
Flaviar.
That would be my guess. So let's rate Flaviar. On a scale of 1 to 37.
Okay.
1 to 37.
34 out of 37.
34 out of 37. Bring it on home.